Fred here, welcome back to the Gear Obsession channel. In this episode, I will be reviewing the CRKT M16-14ZSF. That's Zulu Sierra Foxtrot. I picked this up for an unbelievable low price of $39, but there's a reason why it's $39, and we'll get to that. One of the reasons why I purchased this is because I have this CRKT M16-14T, which is a titanium version. It's a little bit smaller, as you can see. And I've been fairly happy with it. So when I saw this one in the store for such a low price, I thought I'd pick it up. As you can see, it's a different color. It has Zytel handle, and it sort of looks like wood, but it's not. It's sort of made to sort of blend in with the desert, sort of a desert cami. So let's go ahead and open it. I have my trusty open-its. And we'll go ahead and open it up. Okay, let's get ready for this first impression here. Go ahead and remove the knife from the packaging. Lots of good information here on the back, and unlike a lot of manufacturers, they do tell you up front what kind of steel the blade is made out of. And if you notice, it says AUS 4 stainless steel. So this is why this knife doesn't quite cost as much as you would think it would cost for a CRKT. Now let's talk about AUS 4 steel. The downside is it's a softer steel. It doesn't have as much of a edge retention as AUS 6 or AUS 8. I would probably put it on par with 420 of some sort. I'm not a metallurgy specialist, but I do know it's not as good as even the 440A. So on the plus side of this kind of steel is that it will take an edge quicker because it is a little bit softer, and it is more corrosion and weather resistant. So you could sharpen it up pretty quick, should get a nice sharp edge. Now the reason why I bought this is because I thought it looked like wood. I thought it looked pretty cool. But it's actually Zytel, made to blend in with the desert. So let's get some first impressions here. It opened up nice and smooth. As you can see, it has a liner lock. The liner is a 420 J2 steel. And this has this auto lock feature. I think they call it auto lark, or lock spelled L-A-W-K or something like that. But what you have to do to unlock this is pull back on this lock here, and while you're doing that, then you can move the liner over, which at that point you can let go of this part, and then you could start pushing it closed. So it takes a little getting used to, but it is very smooth. Let's try the flipper there. Wow, very smooth, and I don't feel any play whatsoever. Is it sharp out of the box? Well, I'll cut my show notes here. Okay, so that's quite sharp. As you can tell, it is a tonneau type blade, and it's a bee-blasted blade, and it's very sharp. And what's the size here? I'm going to go down some of the dimensions while we're here. It's a pretty heavy knife, by the way. Weight is 6.3 ounces, so if you like a knife with some heft to it, it's heavy. I like it. Let's go down the specs. Overall length is 9¼ inches. Closed length is 5.375 inches. The weight, again, is 6.3 ounces. Blade length is 3.875 inches, so it's a little over 3 and 3/4, a little bit bigger. The thickness is 0.14 inches. Has a pretty thick blade there. Pretty thick. Very strong feeling, and a tonneau is inherently strong blade to begin with. So, by the way, this is a tactical folder, by the way. This is not an everyday carry. This is meant to be a tactical folder. Again, the blade is AUS 4 steel. The hardness is between 55 and 57 on the Hardness Rockwell or the HRC. The grind is a hollow, it's a hollow grind type blade or ground blade, and it has 3-point serrations, so the serrations are not special. CRKT does have some pretty neat serrations on some of their knives, but this is just the normal 3. Let's go ahead and bring that up nice and close. 3-point serrations right there. I'm going to go ahead and just sort of run this by real quick so you can get a nice close look at it. Really nice looking handle, even though it's Zytel. It almost looks like a curly kind of grain in there. Let you take a close look at the liner. The back is open. I would call it open pillow, but there's no pillows back there. By the way, the clip can be mounted blade up, point up or down on left or right side. So lots of flexibility there. Also, if you notice, you have this here which keeps your hand from slipping. So when you're stabbing, because this is a tactical folder, you don't have to worry about your hand slipping at all. Actually feels very comfortable no matter which way you hold this. It feels very comfortable, so it has very good ergonomics. But if you're looking for a light knife, this is not a light knife. If you're looking for a knife that's easy to close, this is not it. But if you're looking for a knife that's easy to open, oh, you betcha. Now the thumb stud is even with the scales there, so they don't stick out, and it's a little bit difficult to open it up using that thumb stud. So really you would just want to use this flipper here, and it opens up nice and smooth. So let's go over some of the other details about this knife. Again, this is designed by Kit Carson, who's a retired professional soldier. I can't talk today, sorry. Rising to the level of Sergeant Major. So Kit Carson has quite a history of designing some very nice knives. Now this particular knife features the rigid interframe built with the 420J2 stainless steel liners, has a threaded stainless steel back spacers, and the desert camo pattern Zytel handle. The blade again is a non-reflective bead blast, so this will really blend in with the desert background if you're serving in Afghanistan or somewhere else in the desert, the sandbox. This could be a nice knife to carry with you. This is what it was designed for. Again, this is a tactical folder, resulting in the true hilt when the blade is open. So I guess this is a true hilt because it has these two pieces that stick out here. It also says that their Big Dog Zytel version has a 3.875 blade, full-size handle with a pommel, which is exceptionally powerful in tactical situations. So they said you could use this as a pommel. It feels like it can probably, yeah, it could definitely hurt if you hit someone with that. It could probably work as a pommel pretty good. I wouldn't like put nails in the wood with it, but it's good in a tactical situation as a pommel to hit maybe a pressure point or something with that. It would do pretty good. So what else do I have here? One-handed opening. Again, it also, you have to close it using that weird lock. Has precision tolerances and Teflon bearings at the pivot point. And let's see, can this be, yeah, you can adjust it. It does have a torque screw in there that you could adjust the pivot, but out of the box it doesn't feel like it needs to have any kind of adjustment. And you can see there's some other good torques in here, so you can disassemble this blade if you must. Torques there, torques there. And again, a whole bunch of torques for the clip. The clip is rather skinny. It's also bead blasted, but It feels like it's pretty strong. I wish they would have gave a little bit of wider. Let me give you a side view of what that looks like. Let's see if I covered all of my notes here. I made mention of that steel. Let me tell you what they talk about when it comes to this particular AUS-4 steel off their webpage. It says, consider these examples. A mechanic who gives his work knife hard daily use in contact with all types of solvents and moisture will benefit from the durability, stain resistance, and ease of sharpening found in the 420J2 or AUS-4 steel. So they're saying this is comparable to the 420J2. In contrast, the buyer of the CRKT Titanium M16, such as this one, which I've already had, which I'm pretty happy with, expects an alloy steel such as AUS-8 steel, which is higher hardness and edge holding ability. So, and I did a review on this a long time ago. I'll let you take a look at that. This is the titanium. It's pretty expensive. You know, these come close to $100. You know, you could probably find them for about $80, or maybe even a little cheaper on special. That's titanium. This is ITEL. This is AUS-4. So this is under $40. And I'll tell you, at my out-of-box experiences, I'm very impressed, and I like it very much. I like it very much. Now this is again, for the third time, a tactical folder. It's not really what you would consider an everyday carry, unless you're expecting to get tactical on a daily basis. So I could recommend this as something you might want to put in your bug out bag, maybe, or as a backup knife if you're in combat. Maybe just a backup knife or something along those lines. Not I wouldn't consider it a survival knife, even though it could probably do fairly good. But you know, the tonneau blade, that's tactical, and the way that this is designed, it's meant because of these, keeps your hand behind that blade. It's very good for stabbing. Very comfortable. They don't leave the left-handed people out to dry. So I am very, very impressed. Okay, one other thing I usually go over is blade centering, and the blade centering is adequate. It's a little bit over to one side. I don't know if you can see that. It's a little bit over to this side. So it's not perfect, but again, you could adjust that pivot screw and straighten it out. But it's not hitting any scales or anything, so it's doing a pretty good job. So if you're in the market of a tactical folder that deploys very quickly and it locks up solid and it's very safe with a extra lock, again, it's AUS-4. So if if you're just not a fan of a softer steel, but again, extremely corrosion resistant and very easy to sharpen to a nice razor edge, really this can serve you well for a very moderate price of $39. And for what you're getting here, such a large tonneau blade designed by Kit Carson, legendary knife designer, and it's a CRKT, you really can't go wrong with this. So very thick blade too, very impressive. So I hope you enjoyed this unboxing, and it's not a long-term review by any means, and I tend not to go out and kill my knives. I'm more of a knife collector, so it's very rare that I go out and put one to the test. But you know, from my out-of-box experience and from what I feel from this knife, I definitely feel like it is a good buy. I'm not a fan of the lock. You know, my cons are this lock that requires a little bit of practice. It's like a three-step process to get that to unlock. I'm not a fan of that. I wish it had maybe at least AUS-6 instead of AUS-4 steel. And I would have liked a slightly thicker pocket clip, even though it has a pretty tight clip. It rides in your pocket about at the right height. You want a tactical folder, you should be able to get a good grip with it. So if I had to give this a rating for the price point, definitely it is doing pretty good. I'd give it an 8 out of 10. And again, I appreciate friends, viewers, and subscribers for stopping by the Gear Obsession channel, where your host just can't speak today. Again, I'd like to also thank those who are police and firemen and serve the public. I really do appreciate you, and I appreciate you stopping by the Gear Obsession channel again. Have a great evening.